The baby wasn't crying. It was just staring at me. At 3 a.m., my doorbell rang 3 times. Ding, ding, ding. I opened the door expecting some drunk neighbor. Instead, there was a tiny baby wrapped in a blue blanket. No parents, no note, just a small teddy bear tucked beside him. My heart started pounding. What the? I looked up and down the empty street. Nobody. The neighborhood was silent except for the wind. Just as I reached for my phone to call 911. A soft voice came from the darkness. Please, don't. I froze. My gorgeous next-door neighbor, Emma, slowly stepped out from behind the hedge. She was wearing an oversized white hoodie over pink pajamas, her messy hair tied in a loose bun. Breathing heavily like she'd been running, her eyes looked terrified. I know whose baby that is, she whispered. My stomach dropped. You ... what? She glanced over her shoulder before looking back at me. Can we go inside first? Without thinking, I picked up the baby. The little guy grabbed my finger ... and smiled. I had absolutely no idea ... that this tiny smile was about to turn my quiet life upside down. Inside my house, Emma kept pacing around the living room. The baby was strangely calm, sitting in my arms as if he already knew me. You should explain, I finally said. Emma bit her lip. I can't tell you everything yet. I sighed. Then at least tell me why this baby is on my porch. Before she could answer, the baby let out the tiniest sneeze. We both looked at him. Then, without warning, he sneezed again, right onto Emma's hoodie. For 2 seconds, silence. Then she burst into laughter. Real laughter. I couldn't help laughing too. The baby looked proud of himself. Great, I smiled. First 5 minutes together, and he's already attacking people. Emma wiped her sleeve. I think he likes me. No, I grinned. I think he has excellent aim. She laughed so hard, she nearly fell onto the couch. The tension disappeared for a moment. Then the baby suddenly made another tiny sound. Glue. Emma leaned closer. I think he's hungry. I opened every kitchen cabinet I had. Coffee, instant noodles, protein powder, 3 bags of chips. Emma folded her arms. So ... you don't have baby food. I barely have adult food. She laughed again. I noticed. Finally, I found 1 bottle of milk left by my sister months ago, but she visited with her son. I can't believe this actually helped, Emma said. The baby happily drank every drop. 5 minutes later, he fell asleep in my arms. Emma stared quietly at him, then at me. You know, you're surprisingly good with babies. I smiled awkwardly. I'm just trying not to drop him. She giggled. You passed. Just then, someone knocked loudly on the front door. Bang! Both of us jumped. Another knock. Even louder. Emma's smile vanished instantly. She whispered only 4 words. Don't let him in. The knocking came again. Bang! Bang! It wasn't the kind of knock you ignored. It sounded like someone expected the door to open. Immediately, Emma grabbed my arm. Her voice was barely a whisper. Turn off the lights. I didn't ask why. I reached for the switch. The living room fell into darkness. Only the moonlight spilled through the curtains. The baby stirred, but didn't wake up. Another knock. This time, a man's voice. Emma, I know you're in there. I just want to talk. Emma's face turned pale. I whispered, who is that? She swallowed hard. My ex. I frowned. The baby's father. She quickly shook her head. No. Then why is he looking for you? Before she could answer, the doorknob slowly turned. Locked. Thank goodness. The man sighed. I saw you run this way. I'll come back tomorrow. His footsteps slowly disappeared. Neither of us spoke. Not for almost a minute. Finally, Emma sat on the couch. I'm sorry. You got dragged into this. I crossed my arms. I think it's time you tell me everything. She stared at the sleeping baby, then nodded. His name is Noah. My best friend, Lily, asked me to protect him if anything ever happened to her. I looked confused. So ... where's Lily? Emma's eyes filled with tears. I don't know. She disappeared yesterday. Silence filled the room. I looked down at Noah. He was sleeping peacefully, completely unaware that his entire world had changed. Just then, Noah suddenly opened his eyes. He looked directly at me ... then reached out both tiny hands. I laughed. I think he wants you. Emma smiled. No, I think he picked you. Before I could answer, Noah grabbed my nose. Hard. Ouch. Emma burst into laughter. He already knows how to defend himself. I rubbed my nose dramatically. I'd been defeated by someone who can't even walk. She couldn't stop laughing. For the first time that night, she actually looked happy. Then, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. One message. The baby isn't safe. Trust nitrogen monoxide 1. Not even your neighbor. Every smile disappeared. I slowly looked at Emma. She looked back at me. Completely unaware of the message. My heart started racing. Was the text telling the truth? Or was someone trying to turn us against each other? At that exact moment, the security camera on my porch detected movement. Someone had come back. The security camera alert flashed across my phone. Motion detected. Front porch. Emma's breathing became uneven. Don't open it. I looked through the peephole. Nobody. The porch was empty. I slowly unlocked the door and stepped outside. Cold wind. Silent street. Nothing. Then I looked down. The little teddy bear, the one that had been lying beside Noah's basket, was sitting in the middle of my porch. I frowned. I'm sure I left this inside. Emma hurried over. I left it on the couch. We looked at each other. Someone had entered the house, or someone had come back for the teddy. I picked it up. It felt heavier than before. What is this? Emma gently squeezed its stomach. A tiny click echoed. Both of us froze. There was no button before. She carefully opened the zipper hidden behind its back. Inside was a tiny silver USB drive and a folded note. My hands shook as I unfolded it. It read, "If Noah is with you, don't trust Detective Harris." Emma whispered. "Harris, he's the officer who took Lily's missing person report." Before either of us could speak, Noah suddenly started crying. Not a little cry. A loud one. The kind every neighbor could hear. Lights turned on across the street. Windows opened. Then, Frank stepped outside in pajamas covered with tiny ducks. He looked across the road. "Ethan, you finally have a baby and nobody invited me." Emma laughed despite everything. "This isn't the time, Frank." He scratched his head. So ... Should I bring diapers or congratulations? I smiled. Maybe both. Frank disappeared, then came back 2 minutes later, carrying a shopping bag. I have no idea what babies need, so I bought everything. Inside the bag, diapers, baby wipes, a rubber duck, 3 chocolate bars, and dog treats. I stared. "We don't have a dog." Frank shrugged. I panicked. Even Emma couldn't stop laughing. "You might be the sweetest disaster on this street." Frank proudly smiled. I'd been called worse. After Noah calmed down, Frank quietly looked at the baby. His smile faded. "I've seen this little guy before." Emma's eyes widened. "What?" Frank nodded. "Yesterday morning, a young woman carrying him stopped at the gas station. She looked terrified. She kept checking behind her." Emma grabbed his arm. "Did you see where she went?" Frank shook his head sadly. "Number, but..." He reached into his pocket. "I found this after she drove away." He handed me a small key, a locker key, with the number 317. Emma stared at it. Lily always used locker 317... at the old train station. Before I could ask another question, my phone buzzed again. Another message from the unknown number. This time, there was only one sentence. "They're already watching your house." I slowly looked out the window. Across the street, a black SUV sat under the streetlight, engine running. Someone inside was watching us. The black SUV never moved. Its headlights stayed off, but someone inside was definitely watching. Emma quietly closed the curtains. "We have to leave." I looked at Noah. "As soon as daylight comes." She nodded. "Agreed." At sunrise, we drove to the old train station. The place had been abandoned for years. Rust covered the tracks. Broken windows reflected the morning sun. Inside, hundreds of dusty storage lockers lined the walls. Emma stopped. "Locker 317. Her hands trembled. "This is it." I inserted the key. Click. The metal door slowly opened. Inside, there was only one backpack, a baby photo album, a sealed envelope, and a small velvet box. Emma carefully opened the envelope. The first line made her freeze. "If you're reading this, I couldn't protect Noah anymore." The letter was from Lily. She explained everything. She wasn't running from criminals. She was running from Noah's abusive biological father, a wealthy man who wanted custody only to protect his public image. Lily knew she couldn't keep Noah safe forever, so she trusted the only person she believed would never abandon him, Emma. Emma couldn't hold back her tears. I should have found her sooner. I gently placed my hand on her shoulder. You did everything you could. Suddenly, a tiny giggle echoed through the station. Noah. He had somehow grabbed my car keys and thrown them across the floor. Emma burst into laughter. He has amazing aim. I sighed dramatically. First my nose ... Now my keys. This kid is dangerous. She laughed even harder. Inside the velvet box was a delicate silver necklace with a tiny heart charm. Emma smiled through her tears. Lily wore this every day. She held it close. I'll keep it for Noah. Just then, a familiar voice echoed behind us. Ethan. We turned. It was Frank, holding 3 cups of coffee. I guessed you'd come here. I blinked. How? He grinned. I'm retired. I have too much free time. Emma laughed. And you're impossible. Frank handed us coffee. Also ... I called a lawyer friend. He already contacted child protection. They know the whole truth now. You two are safe. For the first time, Emma finally relaxed. Weeks passed. The investigation ended. Lily was eventually found alive in another city after escaping and hiding until authorities secured Noah's safety. The court ruled that Noah would stay with Lily, while Emma remained an important part of his life. Every weekend, Noah visited, and every weekend, he somehow found a new way to make us laugh. One Saturday ... He pointed at me ... Then as Emma, he clapped his tiny hands. Mama ... Emma smiled. Then he pointed at me again. We both laughed. Frank shouted from his porch. I know it. I'm ordering the wedding cake. The whole neighborhood laughed with him. I looked at Emma. She smiled. You know, this all started with a baby on your doorstep. I nodded. And somehow ... It brought me the family I never knew I needed. She slipped her hand into mine. You still have one job. What's that? She smiled. Never stop answering the door. Because sometimes, the biggest surprise in your life doesn't knock for long.